So in 1994, I graduated from UC Davis, and my brother also graduated from Chico State. Unlike me, he got a real job right away at Microsoft, as a computer engineer, but it took me, but I was trying to figure out exactly what I was going to do next. I knew I wanted to start a business. So my brother at the same time was looking to buy a Honda, and to his surprise, Honda did not have a website. So one day he gave me a call and he said, "Hey, what do you think about starting a business online, providing information about cars?" But the problem was I had never been online. And my brother helped me, set me up, and once I realized what's possible on the internet, I really got hooked and got really interested in working with him and starting a business on the web about cars. And you got to keep in mind, I loved cars. At the time, I was 23, and I had probably 17 cars that I had bought and sold up to that moment in my life, which, of course, I did not do it over 23 years. I done over the prior 4 years. But my first car was a Pinto, a Ford Pinto, a used Ford Pinto I bought for $600. And my second car was a Datsun truck, convertible, massive boombox. But I had all kinds of cars. I had a 1976 Camaro with a big engine, which I could not afford buying gas for it. You think of any car that, from the 70s and the 80s, I probably owned it at some point. Cheap cars, but I love the idea of just buying and selling and experiencing a new car. And so to me, it was like a dream come true for a 20-some-year-old guy to help build a service that focused on buying and selling cars. So we started Autoweb in November of 1994. And you got to keep in mind, at that time, I don't think there were probably more than a handful of other businesses on the web. Yahoo had just started, but like Amazon wasn't around, and any of the big names that we know today, they were not around yet. And it was not an easy sell. I was going to car dealers and I was telling them that they should sign up for a service that would help them sell cars on the internet. The problem was they had never heard of the internet. So first we had to educate them on the internet, then get them to spend money to sign up with us. And it was not an easy task. And I remember, these days I had a Honda Accord myself, a used Honda Accord, and I would drive all over California. I would fly to other places in the US, and I would visit car dealers all the time. I had a stack of business cards of every car dealer I'd ever spoken to. And I remember my brother one day telling me that, should we just stop pursuing this? It doesn't look like we can sell it. Now, you got to keep in mind, I've been listening to Wayne Dyer, reading Anthony Robbins, and listening to his audio tapes, and other just amazing motivational stories and books, Zig Ziglar. And I'm like, no way. I'm 150 or 500 no's closer to a yes. There's no way I'm going to give up now. And I would literally listen to loud music, motivating myself right before a meeting. I would walk out, pump myself up, and go to one more meeting, get one more no, and then move on to the next one. But realizing that, at least I believe that this is something that ultimately is going to work. I fundamentally believed that we were into something really exciting. And but to save my life, I couldn't sell it. So finally I called a friend of mine who used to work for me, was one of my employees at Student Painters. I called her up, I said, look, I'm trying, but I can't sell this. She said, well, do you want me to go out there and give it a try for a couple of hours? I said, sure. She lived in Oakland. She went to Oakland Auto Row on Broadway. She called me up half an hour later. She said, yeah, I just met with this dealership. They're totally interested. You should go meet with them. I'm like, okay. So I went, met with the gentleman who owned the dealership, Todd Simi. I'll never forget that name. Todd was interested, and Todd signed up. and Todd paid me $26,000 cash up front for 1 year to become the first member of our service. I took the check, cashed it, went to East Bay BMW and bought a BMW 3 Series. And I felt like I deserved a new car. My brother did not like that idea. I got really fortunate. My brother and I got really fortunate along the way. We met some incredible people that allowed us, helped us build this thing into a real business. One of them was a gentleman named Norm Turner. He was the GM at Stevens Creek Honda in San Jose. I remember going to Norm, which another guy had introduced me to him, and Norm was just so generous with his time. He met with me. He's British, which is not very common. British car dealers in California are not very common. And he sat down with me and he said that, look, you helped me sell 3 cars in 1 month, and I will not only sign up with you, I will have every car on Stevens Creek Auto Row, which represented every franchise in the country, sign up with you. After a month, he said that he sold 3 cars. To this day, I don't believe he sold 3 cars. I think he said it because he wanted to help me out. And he took me to the Association for Stevens Creek Auto Row. I presented on the day that Netscape went public in 1995. And they voted. I think they got about 55% yays, 45% no's. They signed up. And we got the entire Stevens Creek Auto Row. And frankly, that made Autoweb, because we all of a sudden had almost every brand, at least for the Bay Area, on our platform. The funny story is that when our first big client signed up for Autoweb, they wanted to deliver a check for $50,000. Now, this is huge for us. And but they said, we need to come to your office to deliver the check. Well, up to that point, we were working out of my brother's bedroom. So I had to go get an office. We didn't need an office. We had no employees, but I had to go find an office. I had like a day or two to find an office, which I did. I got 600 square feet at this office building in the heart of Silicon Valley. And I put a beautiful map of the US up, bought a few computers, put good screensavers on them, and they showed up, they gave me the check, and we did not need that office. I did not use that office for a long time until we hired our first employee and so on. But as a result of that, we were kind of forced to get our first office. And I remember one of the things our first client asked us to do was to go incorporate. So my brother and I went to a lawyer's office to incorporate our business. And the lawyer asked us, so what kind of a corporation do you want to set up? And we had no idea there were different kinds of corporations. And I'm sitting there, and I still got keep in mind, I have thick Persian accent, a lot worse than now. And I said, well, the kind that can go public. And with a bit of a smile on his face, he said, okay, that's a C corporation. And I know in his mind he was thinking, like, good luck. And he said, so who's going to be the CEO? My brother and I will look at each other. Well, you're 6 years older than me. You're the CEO. So what's my title? I'm the CFO. Of course, nothing qualified me as a CFO. And so we got started. We had incorporated our business. We had our first check, and we had real revenue.